Hello everyone, my name is Caitlin and welcome back to my channel. So I do have a little bit of an announcement, sort of just thing that I need your guys' help with before I jump right into it today. So I really want to do a top 10 Disney Channel ships video as voted by you guys. But to do that, I need you guys to vote. And so I've left a link down below to the survey. Please go vote and tell me what your favorite ship is. And yeah, I think that will be a lot of fun. But with all that being said, let's jump right into High School Musical, the series. So as we all know, the finale for the show was last Friday, hopefully depending on when this video goes up. And I've been promising you guys since the very first episode that I would do a review for it once the season ended, but then I found myself, like, as the show went on, like, the motivation to do a review just really went down. I personally just don't like doing a video on something I'm not passionate about, and so I had this, like, lack of passion for the show, but then, like, this promise of, like, that I would do a video on this, like, weighing down on me. But then I realized I may not be very passionate about the show itself, but for some reason I'm very passionate about the fact that I don't have a passion for it, and so we're good. We're here today. I'm here to talk about this show that I don't really care that much for, but I did realize after rewatching it that I do have, like, some stuff to say. And so just like any of my other reviews, I will have a non-spoiler section first because I know not everyone has access to Disney Plus yet, and so you can still watch my non-spoiler section. And so let's move on to that. So to be completely honest, when I first went into the show, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was amazing. I was recommending it to everybody. It wasn't until like episode 4 where I kind of noticed that I didn't really care for the show anymore. That's not to say that I hate the show, because I don't. I just feel like as it went on, it got more cheesy. I kept comparing it to a telenovela, which I feel like is a super weird comparison and not very many people are gonna understand it. And really, I should be comparing it to like a teen drama, but I don't watch teen dramas, so I don't really have any basis there. But for something like a telenovela where it's also super cheesy, lots of drama, music, tropes, and so much over the top everything, but you want it to be like that because it's a telenovela and it knows what it's trying to be, whereas you have something like High School Musical, the series, where it's got all of those things as well, but then it also really wants you to take it seriously. And that's not to say that telenovelas don't want you to take it seriously, but it's like you can in like its own telenovela realm. Whereas for me, watching High School Musical, the series, I just felt like I didn't really know where they were going with this, and I felt like the show didn't really know what it was. And again, that's not to say that the show is terrible by any means. I think there's a lot of great aspects to it as well. Like the music, for example, I think is amazing. Not really too sure how coherent the songs are with one another, and they're definitely not coherent to the original film's music, but I'm happy that they aren't, because I feel like we really needed some new, fresh, current songs for the series, and I feel like it works really well. I also really enjoyed the acting in the series. I think everyone involved does such a good job, and it was so cool to see all of these Disney Channel actors in a more mature setting. I think Joshua Bassett, who plays Ricky, would definitely be the standout actor for me. I just feel like him and the rest of the cast weren't always given the best material to work with. But overall, it was entertaining. I'm glad I watched it. I feel like if you're a High School Musical fan, you gotta watch it. There's just no discussion about it. I'll be watching season 2 and season 3 if it gets one. And yeah, with all that being said, let's move on to the spoiler section. I wanted to start off talking about the structure of the show because I felt like the pacing was really off. Like sometimes I'd watch an episode and I felt like it would never end. Then other times I'd watch an episode and I felt like it would end way too soon. There's also a lot of cases where I feel like if you blinked you would miss something. Like a lot of times whatever was going on with Natalie was just a throwaway line, and so I would miss like why she wasn't in an episode, or I completely missed Nini's mom's in the first episode, which I heard a lot of people missed as well. And so I just feel like there was a lot of cases where it was like you didn't have enough time to tell this, and then other cases where it was like you have way too much time to tell this. And so that sucked. There's also a couple High School Musical things that they did that made me mad, that I think I've seen people online already talk about being upset about, but I'm gonna talk about it anyways because I'm so upset about it. Like in episode 1 when Carlos says that Troy would have been on time, when like any High School Musical fan would know that Troy is literally never on time, and then Carlos says that he's seen the movie like a billion times, so he should know that. And so it's like, was he like trying to be ironic about it, or like just dumb? Like, I don't know. Then there's also in episode 4 when Nini and EJ sing Sharpay and Ryan's version to What I've Been Looking For, when it's like makes no sense that they would be singing that version. They should be singing the Troy and Gabriella version, which is low-key better in my opinion. Also, speaking of Ryan, what happened to him? Why was his character just like not talked about in the show at all? Like he had someone portraying him, but then he's like the guy who was like playing the guy that was playing the guy, Ryan, like had no lines whatsoever. We hardly even saw him. He was like a side character, which makes me so mad because he's the only one in like the main original cast that like wasn't talked about at all. It was so dumb. And while we're on the topic of Ryan, I gotta say I'm very upset that the special completely ruined Lucas's cameo for me, because I watched it before I watched the new episode, because I think it came out before then, and so that made me mad. But now that I'm done my little rant, I wanted to talk about my favorite and least favorite episode. I think my favorite episode would probably be the first one, because it was good. I think that the arc in the first one was really well done. And then I think my least favorite episode would probably be episode 6, I think it was, with the protest. That whole storyline really halted the plot. The protest reminded me a lot of like the Girl Meets World protest, but like more extra, and I really didn't care for their song, and then it really just made me feel weird about Miss Jen's character and her credentials, because I don't know, I feel weird about like a teacher not actually being a teacher, and so I didn't really care for them saving her. Like, she's a fine character and whatever, but I was like, I don't know, seems kind of sketchy. I also want to talk about something else that made me upset, but if you haven't seen 2 other Disney Channel shows, it will spoil them for you. So if you haven't seen the 2nd season of The Lodge or the 2nd season of Soy Luna, I would click to this timestamp if you don't want to be spoiled. It's not really that big of a spoiler, but like it's kind of a spoiler. Anyways, that's the timestamp. If you haven't seen those shows and you want to watch them, click there. If you don't care, keep watching. Okay, cool. So why is everything getting burned down? First it was the Jam and Roller, and then it was the Lodge, and now it's East High. It's just such a basic plot line, and it made me mad. That's literally all I had to say. And the last thing I want to talk about in this section, which was supposed to be story, but I feel like it's just been me ranting for however long, is the final show, because it sucked. Nini's acting was not good at all. The amount of time she broke character or looked at the audience or literally talked to EJ like in the middle of the scene or interrupted the whole show to bring Ricky back in, like, don't get me wrong, it was a good moment, but it was so unprofessional. I don't understand how she got a spot with like the performance that she gave, because I don't think it was good at all. Also, imagine being an audience member for that performance. You would have been so confused. You wouldn't know who is who because all of these characters are switching, and suddenly Miss Darvis has a solo, and it's a really good song, but it doesn't fit in with any of the other High School Musical songs, and also you don't really know Miss Darvis's character that well, so you're kind of like confused as to why she gets a whole solo. And then there's the fact that Get Your Head in the Game is the song before intermission, and I feel like that's off. I've never seen a live adaptation of High School Musical, which I'm now just realizing is very upsetting, and I need to see one, but I haven't, and so I don't know if that's like a live adaptation thing, but if we're going based on the movie, that's off. It's supposed to be before that. And then they also didn't even show us Seb's whole Bop to the Top routine, which I was so excited to see, and then we didn't see it. And then they took away the stage kiss. Remember they were gonna stage kiss, or maybe they decided not to do that, but either way, they took it away and I was sad about it. Also, what high school puts on such a highly produced show for one night? That made no sense. I think that's the end of my rant, so I guess we'll move on to characters now. So starting off with Ricky, I did really enjoy his character for the most part. Like I said, I think that Josh is one of the best actors on this show. My main annoyance with Ricky, and I feel like this might just be me being insensitive, but I do also have divorced parents, so I feel like I am a little bit qualified to talk about this, is that I feel like I would have sympathized with him a lot more if he didn't always just outright say what he was going through. Maybe it was just bad writing, but to have him constantly just like tell Nini or just tell Gina like what he was going through, I found to be a bit annoying and a little bit unrealistic. Like, he just constantly was just saying it outright, whereas I'm like, I feel like you would be a bit more reserved and closed off. Like, I know that they tried to be like, because he likes these people and he's more comfortable talking to these people, and maybe I'm just like I said, maybe I just don't have a heart. Also, is the show sponsored by Vans, or did they just really want to show that like Ricky is a skateboarder, so look at all of his Vans? Like, he has so many different colored Vans. He has like got a whole collection of shoes for a high schooler. That's a lot of shoes. Also, if him and Big Red are supposed to be friends since kindergarten, why have they never spent the night at the other person's house? Like, why didn't he know that he has to have that big machine to sleep? Or like, why doesn't he like sleep on the couch? Like, I felt it weird, like the whole sleepover thing. I felt like that was really weird because they were supposed to be best friends. But moving on to Nini, I found her character to be a bit boring overall, which I was pretty disappointed by because I love Olivia as an actress and I think she's amazing in Bizarre. And so to see her play a character here that was so romantic, plot driven, it was just kind of disappointing. And they do talk about that a bit in episode 7, but then I feel like nothing really changes for her motivation wise besides applying for that school. But it is really cool that my Nina, like my roommate Nina, totally called her name being Nina. She didn't really, but I'm giving her credit for that. So next I wanted to talk about EJ because I think that his character development was the best throughout the first season. I love how they tackled cancel culture because it's such a relevant topic that no one's really talking about. And it was really cool to kind of see it mirror real life. Like, I found a lot of people on social media were talking about how much they hated EJ at the beginning, and then they weren't really saying that by the end of the show. And so I think that that's really cool. But it wasn't even just in that he had character development. He also like was able to step back from Nini and see that he wasn't the right one for her, which is cool. I also think it'd be really cool if they made his character bi in the second season, or I guess not make him bi, but if he was just bi in general. Maybe I'm just saying this because of that one rehearsal scene with him and Carlos, but I just think it'd be really cool to explore his character further in season 2. This is also like really random, but I wanted to talk about the STEM teacher Ben's character for like a quick second because I really wasn't too sure what they were doing with his character. He started out in the first episode being super funny. I loved that he used that dry humor and I thought I was gonna love him throughout the show. But then in another episode he was like really rude to Carlos and was all like, I'm gonna take down the musical, which was like really weird. But then the homecoming episode he was really nice to Carlos and he was like, so are you nice now? And then he had the whole bonding moment with Miss Jen, and then you're like, are we shipping them now? Like, what is his character? What is his purpose? And so I'm just like confused by him and hope that we can like explore him further, I guess, in season 2, or just like give him a concrete personality. That would be great. And then the last two characters I want to talk about was Nene and Ricky's best friends. So Courtney, I absolutely loved in the first 3 episodes. I thought she was so funny and awesome. And then she kind of like went away for a bit. And then she came back and was like, I can sing now. And it was like, what is your character? I know that she originally like was a last minute add-in, like she was going to be a throwaway character, and then they ended up keeping her. So I guess maybe that's why I felt like her character kind of got lost in the middle. In the first episode, she's all like, I'm going to disassemble the patriarchy. And then she does like nothing. She doesn't really do anything. But I do really like how good of a friend she was to Nene, and I think we really needed that relationship, so I'm happy they did keep her on, and hopefully she'll get a bigger role in the second season. I don't really have much to say about Big Red besides the fact that the more the show went on, the more he bugged me. Like, he started out being really funny and I really enjoyed him, but then as the show went on, he started to just like say a lot of really cringy stuff that I didn't find funny at all, and so I was a little bit disappointed as to where they took his character in that sense. But I did really like how they started it out with him thinking he's not good at anything, and then realizing he's actually good at like a bunch of things, and showing that you don't need to be defined by just this one thing that you're good at or that you like, which is obviously a theme in High School Musical, and so it was nice to see that used here as well. Overall, I did find the characters to be a little bit one-dimensional, but I do feel like that could be just because we didn't get enough time to explore them. Like, 10 episodes really isn't that long of a run, and so I'm hoping for season 2 we'll be able to get more time to really explore more of these characters' personalities, and then maybe I'll be able to find more of an emotional connection to them. But now let's move on to the ships, which would usually be my favorite part, but I honestly didn't really care much for any of the ships, and so this will be easy, I guess. Starting off with Nene and Ricky, I mean, I guess I ship them. They're really the only ship on the show that was explored somewhat well. Like, I ship them more than Nene and EJ, but that's not really saying much because, like, everyone does. I didn't really like the whole idea of changing your name because of your childhood love interest, but that could just be because it just reminded me of that one girl from Encore, and so that just made me cringe. I also, like, didn't really enjoy his, like, big speech at the end that much. I found it to be pretty cheesy and a little bit cringy, especially that one line where he's like, yeah, because you outgrew them, but I never outgrow you. I think I wrote down, someone help me after I heard that because I just couldn't take it anymore. But I do admit that Joshua's acting is really good in that scene, and it probably saved it from being worse. And I've read online that he did a lot of improv for that scene or something, like he added in stuff from like their actual lives, and so that's cute. And it did make me cry the first time I watched it, but I'm an emotional person, and so I cry at everything. The kiss was cute though, and I liked the end when she was like kisses him again and leaves, and the gifts, they were cute. It's just like that speech, it was a lot, and I don't like watching it. But speaking of things I didn't like, I really was not a fan of Big Red and Ashlyn at all. I just felt like everything that came out of their mouths made me cringe so hard, and not in like a cringy cute way. It was like a cringy please stop way. And then I also just feel like their ship just came out of nowhere and happened way too fast. However, I did like the whole callback to Sharpay and Zeke with the ending and the tap dancing scene. I just didn't really care much for the kiss. And then I don't really have anything to say about Sebastian and Carlos, mainly because we didn't really get to see much of them. Like, they were cute for what we saw, but then we hardly saw any of it. I saw this one post online that it was something along the lines of like, Tyrus walked so Seblos could walk as well, and I just feel like that summarizes my opinions on them perfectly. Oh yeah, and then there's also Ricky and Gina. I don't ship them. I think that they're good friends. But that's about it. And then there's EJ and Gina apparently now, maybe. I don't ship that either. I think that they could be friends too, but romantically, I don't know. Unless they give us a good storyline in season 2. But I mean, Nene and Ricky were the main storyline in this season, and I didn't really like it. I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see. To end on a positive note, I did just want to talk a little bit more in depth about the music because, like I said, I thought it was really good. I think my favorite song was probably Out of the Old. I just thought that song was so well done. And I love how Olivia and Josh got to write some of the songs for the show. I think that that's so cool and fun. And I love that they mixed in live versions of the songs into the show. I just felt like it made it so much more authentic. And yeah, I love the music. It was really good. Oh, but also, did anyone else find that the one song, For a Moment, I think, in episode 10, when he goes, I fell in love. Did anyone else go, with the pizza girl? Or is that just me? I don't know. Am I just Jonas trash? I feel like the melodies are exactly the same, or maybe they were, and that's just like where my mind goes, but I thought that was funny. But those are my thoughts on High School Musical, the musical, the series. I was a little bit nervous about making this review because I know the fandom has grown so much and I really don't want to get attacked, but I feel like my subscribers, like my people will know that I don't mean anything in a mean way. Like, I'm not trying to trash on your show. I'm just giving my opinions because people have been asking me for them. And I'm excited for season 2. I hope that they're doing High School Musical 2. They have to, right? They wouldn't jump to 3. That would be weird. Anyways, guys, let me know down below what you thought of High School Musical, the musical, the series. I can't wait to read all about it. My name is Caitlin. You can follow me everywhere at Caleb's Disney. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on that bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. That's all I have to say for today. I hope you'll have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Oh, and don't forget to vote in the survey. It's down below. Maybe you like me and Ricky and you want them to be #1. Go vote, and then I'll be eating my words, and maybe they're the best ship. I don't know.